Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this great webinar and or panelists today. Super excited to talk about our topic of discussion, which will impact many business owners in our community. We are talking about how to access PPP and other funding sources for minority and women-owned businesses. I'm Chrissy Souders. I'll be taking all of your questions and comments behind the scenes. But I'll go ahead and send it over to Darryl Jones with the Office of Economic Vitality.
Hello, thank you, Chrissy. And I'm delighted to have this in what is our MWSBE Academy series. It is our way at the Office of Economic Vitality to make certain that we're doing everything we can to build capacity for our minority and women-owned and small businesses found in our local market. This makes one of many. I want to thank Chrissy for her involvement in all of them. She is a certified woman-owned business in our with the Office of Economic Vitality and does a great job of convening us. Today, we want to have a special conversation about what we know are the financial options that are made available to our local business in our community. Our community is resource rich, but we want to make certain that our minority, women-owned, and our local small businesses are aware of the opportunities that are out there. So here on today's panel, we've got some persons who are both lenders, and we also have persons on here who have successfully navigated the system, and they can provide you with some insight on how easy and simple it was and what they have found to be some of the best options in our market. So starting off, I guess if I look up to that corner, no, wrong side. If I look that way, I see Candace Hopkins with Prime Meridian, and right next to her on my screen is Sterling Luce, also with Prime Meridian, two persons who have a great deal of experience with payroll protection program loans, right? Okay. Then right above me is my good friend, attorney Sha'Ron James, the president and CEO and founder of Impact Foods, who has taken advantage of the local Appalachia Regional Planning Council loan that the Office of Economic Vitality did in cooperation with that agency. She was our very first lender and has been able to take those monies and to have a great impact within the first 3 months of the start of her business. I mean, the rollout of her business, because her business existed for a while.
Above me. She's above me too, Darryl.
She's above
me too.
And then right next to me, as he should be, is my brother. And I mean BRUFFA brother. That means that's part brother and part best friend, John Brown, who is also a local business owner here in our community, who's navigated the available loans that we have out there and is going to give us some insight on how you do it and how you can do it quickly and get the biggest bang for your buck. So without further ado, thank you everybody for being here. And let's start with our friends up at Prime Meridian, Candace Hopkins and Sterling Luce, to talk about what is Prime Meridian's role in helping to secure PPP funding for local businesses, particularly those that are their member businesses. So Candace and Sterling, have at it.
Okay, I'm going to let Sterling start us off, and then I'll follow up.
Okay. Well, I'll just tell you, we've been very active and very pleased to be active. It's been busy work with PPP program. We started last year. We're well over 1,400 loans as of today, all within the communities in which we serve. It has become, as the process has come along, it's become easier. We have become better at it. If you are out there available for a PPP loan and have not applied yet, we encourage you to do so. We can walk you through the process. It's relatively easy. There are some quirks to it. There are some changes as we move through. But right now we're in the midst of what the SBA, and this is a Small Business Association program, we're in the midst of what they call round 2 funding. So if you applied for a PPP loan last year and even if you've not gotten forgiven, you're potentially available for a second PPP loan. And if you didn't get a PPP loan last year, you can start round 1 in the midst of what they call round 2 draw. We can get you a application in for that as well. We're also in the middle of the forgiveness process. If you worked with us last year on a PPP loan and have not applied for forgiveness now, we encourage you to reach out, and we'll be reaching out to you soon as well. That has become much easier, and we can walk you through every step of that process. So right now we are for round 2. The SBA has told us they will close this round May 31st. There's still plenty of money and still plenty of time to apply. And again, we do most of it electronically. If that's difficult for you, we encourage you to come into our office, and we can do it here as well. We can do it all in paper form and get the input done for you.
Sterling covered mostly everything. Just going to say that we are a community bank, so we are community driven, and it's all about helping the community, helping the businesses in their time of need, helping them to be able to survive and navigate what's going on with our economy right now, so that they can still keep employees employed beyond the pandemic, beyond what's going on in the economy currently as it stands. We are walking our clients through it. We are being very diligent on the front end, so it may take a little bit longer, but the more time that we put into it on the front end, the less likely it gets hung up with SBA. There should be, if anyone tells you there's a fee to apply, go to the bank, come see us. You should not be paying fees to help prepare or pull up all your paperwork in order to submit an application for these funds.
Candace, would you mind saying that one more time, please?
Okay, so the last part.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so again, you should not have to pay a fee to apply for a PPP loan. If you have questions or anyone is telling you should pay a fee, make sure that you go directly to the bank and ask the banker questions about it. We are here for you. We're walking you through the process step by step and answering any questions you have. And you may have to provide more on the front end, but it's to help you get through the process and so that the loans don't get hung up with the SBA, so we can get the money in your hands quickly so that you can continue running your business and not have this hanging over your head.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to come back to you with some questions, and I know Christy is managing our questions offline. Sha'Ron, tell us about ARPCs.
I may have to pass to John. I have a friend in the background that may start barking, but
I can do that.
Okay.
I can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love to Sha'Ron. I spoke earlier about when you said she's above me, above you, Darryl. I said she's above me. That's my friend, and I'm proud of everything that she's doing in this community and beyond. So big up, Sha'Ron. Good to see you continuing to move. Sha'Ron and I have had a chance to work together a lot in the past. So always good to see her and other people flourishing that we love and care for. I want to speak about the PPP. You know, my wife and I have become quite the evangelists related to this, because I don't believe that enough of entrepreneurs and business owners realize that the money is out there for them. I will use myself as an example. One of the things we have to remember as small business owners and everybody listening, if small business owners are usually focused on what they do well. They have expertise, they have experience in what they do, and they're focused on that. So all this other stuff that sounds so detailed and complex, that might not be that, they're not paying attention to it because they're focused on flourishing and surviving in a pandemic and things of that nature. So the first time I heard about PPP, in the name of the program is payroll. And for a lot of small businesses, they don't have, I'm not saying everybody, there are a lot of businesses that have payroll in the sense of employees, but some small businesses, a lot of small businesses don't have employees specifically, especially if they're service related, and a lot of people don't think it's for them. So a lot of colleagues that I have that might be in creative services or marketing or consulting or whatever, catering and, things of that nature, if they don't have W-2 employees and if they have contractors or things of that nature, they just assume the program was not for them. So in round one, you had some challenging situations because the money was in the pot, as our colleagues here in the financial, with the financial industry can tell you, with Prime Meridian, the money drew up, and for a lot of local businesses, especially if they were talking to their business banking partners, and if they didn't have access or they couldn't even get them in the portal, that was not a good situation, and there was a lot of scrambling going on. So that was round one. When round two came back around, Congress did a lot of cleanup, right? Made things a lot clearer, because in round one there were a lot of theoreticals that should have happened, but for tax purposes on the back end, a lot of small businesses were going to be hit the other way, and Congress needed to go back and clean that up. They did that, and then they also applied that for round two, draw one, and then when draw two came out, they totally cleaned that up and made it very easy for people. So people need to know, even in the recent discussions and stroke of the pen, there's another $7.25 billion into the economy for small businesses. That money is there for you. And if you're not applying for it, then, I don't know what to tell you. We are encouraging people to apply for this money. You pay your taxes, you're putting money into the government's coffers. This money is there for you to help revitalize the economy, to help get you back on your feet. And I'll say it as simple as this. If you are in a situation where you don't have employees, and you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur with no employees, etc., you take a number for your gross income, gross receipts. Those are two different numbers, but let's just go with a gross income. Take your Schedule C, your line 7. You take that total number, divide it by 12 months. That's a number. You multiply that number by a variable of 2.5. That's your forgivable loan number. I mean, people need to take that. That could be a significant number for a lot of people. And if you don't have that information last week, and you're getting that information today, and you go to Prime Meridian, or you go to your business banking relationship, or if they can't help you, or they're hemming and hawing and saying they can't because they're busy, you find another partner, or we can help you find another partner, and you go get your money, because the people you work with, your employees, your family, this money is out there for you, and people need to apply. And then there's the opportunity that if you have a 25% reduction total income from 2019 to 2020, there's a total
Did we lose you? Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Maybe I was giving too much information and I needed to be cut off. But with the draw 2, even if you don't have a 25% reduction total income, if you have any quarter comparatively from 2020 to 2019, any quarter that is a 25% reduction, you qualify, which means that technically you can go back once you qualify and potentially get a replica or a duplicate of your draw 1. So that's a draw 1 times 2 if you can qualify for it. So it's, my thing is, I have people saying, "Hey, John, thank you so much for this information. I didn't know this," and things like that. I say, don't thank me. You can thank me by sharing the information. You can thank me when you get that second check. People have issues, moral issues, other issues. They feel a certain way politically, or they feel a certain way about, taking the government's money. I say, you feel any kind of way you want about it. Get your checks and you can pour it back into the community. If you got a problem with it, let me help you get the money, and then we can pour it back into the community. There's so many neighborhood associations and communities in Leon County, in Tallahassee, that can need your services, and you could pay yourself and give them those services for free if you don't want to take that money into your coffers.
That's right. Wow, that's a fantastic way of looking at it, John. I mean, yours is a compelling point of view, and thank you for sharing that. And this goes back to, I want to go back, and we're going to go to Sha'Ron next, because she too has a compelling story. But I think it's also very important that people understand that this program is intended to translate the information we see in headlines about our recovering economy. Well, this is intended because we realize that a healthy community requires a healthy economy. And because we're trying to do what we're trying to do to make sure we get the message out about these resources so that our business can continue to not just maintain jobs and retain jobs, but to still be job creators in this current market. And I think that's a fantastic segue to Sha'Ron James and Impact Foods, who started her business in the throes of the pandemic and has been able to subsequently create jobs because of her ability to be able to identify financial resources to help her dream to become a reality, even in the throes of pandemic. So, Sha'Ron.
Thank you, Darryl. Thank you, John, and thank you to the team at Prime Meridian. I feel pretty lucky to be on this panel with you all. John and Darryl are close friends. John was actually one of my first bosses, one of the first people I worked with to help build his vision. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. He's been in this for a long time. So glad to be here. One of the questions that's come up had to do with how long your business had to be in existence to receive a PPP. And I think my journey will speak to that. We created and founded Impact Foods in May of last year. And in order to qualify for PPP, you had to be your company had to be in existence when the pandemic hit. So I believe, and Prime Meridian can correct me, sometime in March, there's an actual date. And if you weren't already in operations and had not, if you weren't operating, then you didn't qualify. And so for me, PPP was not an option, but that didn't stop me from wanting to move forward with the vision that I had to create a social impact company. And so social impact companies are companies whose mission, it's a private business, but the mission is really driven by creating positive change in the community. And so Impact Foods is a company whose mission is to provide greater access to healthier food options throughout our community. And so we do that by placing swipe, grab, and go kiosks in locations across the city. That's our short-term mission. And then our long-term mission is to, we're currently working with the manufacturer of the machine to enable it to accept SNAP and EBT benefits, which really opens the door and will be transformative in our community in terms of addressing the needs of food deserts. So that's Impact Foods. And so that was the vision. And despite the pandemic, we moved forward and actually started initially working with folks at Prime Meridian. Christine Brooks was one of the first people I spoke with to find out if there was any money available. Again, I didn't qualify for PPP, and they were one of the first funders in providing some working capital for us to move forward. And then from there, as the company began to grow pretty quickly, we connected with the Appalachia Regional Planning Council and were successful in being funded for their Revive loan program. The great thing about the Appalachia Regional Planning Council is, in addition to being a lender, they provide technical and business support, which has been phenomenal. So again, that's been my journey. It's been a great experience. I think Darryl mentioned early on that this community is resource rich. And I would definitely agree to that.
Sha'Ron, tell us a little more about the loan process with ARPC. How was that?
The loan process was very smooth. I connected with ARPC. Their loan consultant, Jana Williams, worked with me on the application. One of the things that I share with folks is that when I initially started my application, I printed it out, I looked at it, I said it was long, and I started handwriting the application. And so Jana followed up with me a few days later and asked me how things were going. And I said, I'm working on it. I'm going to get through it. I've handwritten the application. And she said, send me what you have. And they actually began processing my handwritten loan application, which is, for people who know me, the fact that there's anything out in that's handwritten and not typed up, with a perfect font and justification says a lot about the comfort level that I had with them, and just, again, their willingness to meet me where I was. And it was a smooth process. So I pretty much kind of dripped pieces of the application to her, day at a time. She processed them, and over, a couple of days, the application was finished, and it was through the process, and the communication with them was great, and they've been a great support ever since.
I have to make you laugh. On my computer, it looked as if John Brown was reaching Pat and Sha'Ron on the back, like it's going to be okay. It's all right, sister.
I was reaching before Brooks entered the chat. That's what I was reaching before.
Oh, you let Brooks
before
come and say
Brooks
hello to
entered the chat.
But Sha'Ron, one more piece.
I'm laughing, Darryl, because I want to see this handwritten application. I don't know who this
Sha'Ron
James.
Either.
I don't know who this Sha'Ron James is on the phone. I need to call Jana because she must be a.
Because this is not the lady we know.
Yeah, she must be a boss whisperer because I don't know this Sha'Ron James that does handwritten applications. I don't know her.
Exactly. I was sitting here looking like, really? Did you? Okay. Sha'Ron, tell us about what the technical assistance and support that ARPC provided you as well.
So one of the great things that ARPC has done is they have a PR and marketing consultant that works in their office. Melissa Franklin has worked with Impact Foods from the beginning, again, for just strategic dialogue, for just the development of materials, and also Jana Williams, as I mentioned, excellent strategic consultant. So as I consider new places for the kiosk, I talk with them, and they've been right there to help me and walk me through that process as well. There are other resources that I've been able to tap into that others should know about. The Family Small Business Development Center has been excellent, as well as OEV. The Office of Economic Vitality has a tremendous amount of resources, some very smart people, in addition to Darryl, that work there, that have data, that have analytics, just really good strategic minds that can help move whatever your vision is for your business forward. So I definitely recommend that.
Thanks so much, Sha'Ron. We appreciate you. John, if I may come back to you, let's talk about your loan. How was the loan experience and the navigation of the loan process for you?
Yeah, Darryl, before I answer that question, one of the things, big up in somebody, Sha'Ron spoke about Melissa Franklin. I met Melissa in the Domi family, right? So went through a Get Started program. She was a part of that experience. So she has this entrepreneur spirit in her also, even though she's working with ARPC, she knows the life of, entrepreneurship and creative thought and execution and things of that nature. And also, I don't want it to be lost on anybody. While OEV is a fabulous resource, a fantastic resource, and so many great minds in there, and advocates, right? Darryl Jones is an advocate, and Christina Paredes and Richard and Latanya and just so many people up there that are advocates, and that will help you. Sinead will help you with the MWSBE process if you have that need, and on and on and on. I don't want it to be lost on anybody that the resources that come out of the Small Business Development Center here in town are phenomenal. And if you have not got a chance to sit down with Keith Bowers, even with COVID, you put your double mask on and sit outside the office if he's there, and wait on him so you can sit at the feet of wisdom and do what he tells you to do. Because he is a wealth of knowledge, and his background as a business banker, and just on and on and on. There's just so many resources. So please do that. So thank you for letting me take that tangent, Darryl. My experience was very, very smooth, right?
John,
yes.
Let me tell you this. One of the things that we now require for those firms that certify with us, that they have to document that they have an appointment schedule or have been seen by the Family Small Business Development Center. I just think that whether you are a newpreneur, established business, or even a business that has been around and you for a long, long time, the resources that are made available at that center are phenomenal, and you can't help but benefit from it. So the Office of Economic Vitality concurs, because now we make it a requirement for certification to be engaged with them. It's a fantastic kickstart.
All the virtual opportunities that OEV and SBDC have provided, all the training, there's a business boot camp coming up in the near future. All of this information, if you think you know it, sit on the sit on a virtual call anyway. Listen to another expert. Listen to it from Sha'Ron's point of view. She might say it differently and put you on to like, oh, I don't know about that path. I mean, there's so much information. You just really have to engage and soak all this information in and see how it applies to you. My experience, Darryl, was Letitia, and my experience was very enlightening in the sense of, you know, again, I had a colleague call me and early in the process and say, hey, have you applied for the PPP? And I said, no, and I don't have employees. And he said, yeah, you are an employee. You are your employee, right? And you know, just encouraged me to find out more information, and then talking to, you know, the accountant, and then talking to the business banker. And literally what I'm encouraging people, including somebody that cut my hair this morning, right? I mean, straight up, anybody that has a business that I know, I'm talking to them, right? So talking to the barber this morning and just encouraging them, call your banker and tell them to tell you what to do. Simple as that, because we're in our lane and this stuff seems complex, and you look at applications and it has all this jargon and all of this information, tax related, and just tell your business banker to tell you what they need and give them what they need. And then they'll tell you what you qualify for. And then they'll call you and tell you to come sign paperwork if you can't do it electronically. And then they'll tell you to come pick up your check. And then they'll tell you to deposit it. And then they'll tell you to make sure that you can provide that proof to them. And then if you qualify for draw 2, they'll tell you to go through that process again and come sign paperwork and pick up another check. That's what it is. Just have them guide you through that process. Darryl, as you know about me, and Sha'Ron knows this also, I'm very thankful for certain gifts that I've been blessed with, and certain areas I stay out of. I don't do electricity. I don't do, automotive. I don't do taxes. That's not my lane. So when I'm in areas like that, I don't do insurance. I despise insurance. But when I'm in areas like that, I ask 1,000 questions, and I ask for direction, and I seek the direction and follow their professional guidance. And in this case with the PPP, have somebody like these professionals on the phone with Prime Meridian, or your current business banking relationship, or other business banking relationships that we can put you in contact with. Have them tell you what to do, and they'll make it easy for you.
Darryl,
as I say, Sha'Ron, don't leave this bread on the table.
Right. And what I would just add to what John said, and just to reiterate, it's important. One of, I think, the most important takeaways is to have a relationship with a bank. And that's, we have Prime Meridian on the line. I definitely am a fan of Prime Meridian. No matter who you bank with, that's something I think a lot of small business owners, minority business owners shy away from, having that relationship with a banker. And, I even say you should have a team the same way you have a relationship. I'll use this as an example. The same way you have a relationship with your pastor, you should have a relationship with a couple people like a banker. And so when situations like this come up, I think that some people were at a disadvantage because they did not have a banker that they could call. And so I definitely, one of the takeaways should be to, whether it's personal or business, begin developing a relationship with a community bank, someone that can make decisions for you and with you right here in Tallahassee.
I'm reminded of the Cheers song. Everybody wants to go where everybody knows your name, right? And I'm not going to say what bank I belong to, but I love it when I walk in the lobby, they say, "Hello, Mr. Jones," and they invite me to some cookies.
And if I may take a second to add on to that, it doesn't matter where you're starting, what size of your business is. You do want to develop that relationship and build that trust, and know that somebody is there to support you as your business continues to grow. You don't have to be making millions of dollars to have that relationship and build that relationship with a banker. You can start at where you are and grow that relationship, just like you're going to grow your business from there. So don't let the size of your bank account or the size of your business intimidate you from coming and asking questions and talking to the professionals, because that's what we're here for, is to help you.
Well, Candace, I think that provides me with a fantastic segue to my next question for you and Sterling. We were able, our office has discerned that there is about more than 8,800 PPP loans that are presently that have been that are in the system right now here out of our local market. Tell me what can I say to someone who is apprehensive about the process? Help me to tell me your appeal, your how you help that business owner who really needs the support to help to guide them such that they can get to a level of comfort where they'll feel confident. And there are a variety of issues, both cultural, credit, and the like, that a great number of persons use as barriers to securing this type of federal funding. Tell me what's your process in helping to make those persons feel confident that this is a worthwhile opportunity for them in their business?
Well, for me, the first thing I would tell them is, one, it is not a credit-based decision. Be open to asking all the questions that you need to ask. Make sure you're talking to someone you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel like you're getting the right answers, or they're not responsive, or you just don't feel like you can trust that individual, then maybe it's time to talk to a different person. But don't let it stop you from trying to keep your business, to help your business survive and to help your business grow. And as John Brown put it, basically, this is my word, don't leave money on the table. If you need that money to help your business thrive and to survive, then you need to do whatever it takes to get that money. So let's ask the questions. We'll walk through the application with you. Like I said, we will help you from start to finish to get that done and get it done correctly so that it doesn't come back. The only way we're gonna, like I said, continue to grow businesses is if we ask the questions, and if you have that partnership and that relationship there for someone to assist you with it. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's just going to help your business. That's going to help assist your business continue to grow and build. It takes a village.
Now, let me ask you this. You described that this is the second round of PPP funding, right? What if I received funding in the first round? Am I eligible in this second round?
If you received money in the first round, and Sterling, feel free to jump in. If you received money in the first round and you have not already been forgiven, you are eligible. If you have been forgiven, if you have applied and you have submitted a forgiveness application and you have not used all the money, so you were not fully forgiven, then you are not eligible for second round.
All right.
You have anything to add on, Sterling? I saw your facial expression.
And I would also add, it's a rare occurrence, but we have had folks that were apprehensive in the beginning, received round one funding, and were apprehensive about going through the forgiveness process, which is really not that difficult and very easy, but repaid the PPP loan. So there's actually a round 1.5. If you repaid your original PPP loan in round one, we can get that back for you if you've changed your mind. It's a little more work, but we're happy to walk you through the process. And I was so happy to hear what John Brown had said. For people that may not need the money, please, if you would do something with it in our community with those extra dollars, please use them. It's a benefit to the entire communities that we serve.
I see that Elijah. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue, Candace.
The only other caveat I will add about someone not being eligible is if you didn't show 25% or more of a loss in the between 19 and 20, then you would not be eligible. So if your business, if you're making more money, or you made your revenues are higher than that 25% mark, then you're not going to be eligible for that second round of PPP.
Candace, can I make
sure.
Can I make just a adjustment to that?
Yes. If
you were so blessed that 2020 was just wonderful for you, right? It took off. But if you started slow, right? Or let's say you started the year strong based on the type of business you did, and then COVID became very clear in March and the world was shut down. And if quarter 2 is weak or quarter 3 is weak and quarter 4 is strong, even though you might have done very well overall in 2020 compared to 2019, and you cannot show a reduction, if your quarter 2 or quarter 3 or any quarter Any quarter is 25% reduction from 2019. You qualify. You can apply.
Yes. And just remember, it's quarter to quarter. You don't get to choose quarter one versus quarter three. So you're gonna be looking at quarter one and quarter one for 2019 and 2020.
So this conversation has a lot of questions for the audience. So I want to go ahead and get those up on screen for you, Darryl.
Chrissy, yeah. I've got Elijah Rutland, everybody. Elijah Rutland, John Brown, and Sha'Ron will recall, is the FAMU Rattler who was a cartoonist.
The great Elijah Rutland.
And who is graduate. In fact, he's your frat brother now, John.
Indeed.
Just pledged the beta new chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha, and I just want to give him a personal shout out. He is a friend of our office. I'm glad to see that he's engaged, and I'm congratulating him. He's got a fantastic opportunity. I believe it's with Warner Brothers. And so his question for us today is, what documentation do I need to provide as a part of the PPP loan?
You all want me to jump in, or you want to?
Candace, y'all got it?
It depends on the type of business, number one. So if it's a small business and you are a Schedule C filer, which means your business is your sole proprietor, your business, your taxes for your business run through your personal tax return. So you would have a Schedule C, then you would just need to provide a copy of that and a completed application. If you are a bigger business, then you would need to provide like your 941s. You would need to if you have employees, you would need to provide your payroll reports. If they're not third party, you would have to provide some additional documentation to support that. If you're using the income to cover your mortgage expenses, you may have to provide a copy of like your loan agreement. Or if you're renting, you'd have to provide your rental agreement as well as canceled checks showing that you made payments towards that. Same thing for like your electricity, cable bill, that kind of thing. You would have to show proof that you had those invoices as well as the payments for said invoices. Sterling, if I'm missing anything, please.
No, that's not it. It is kind of an open question. Highly encourage you to ask us, but your banker to do that, run that work down for you. We've all done it so much at this point. I wouldn't say we're all experts, but from the beginning of where we were fumbling, most financial institutions have gotten it down to a science, whether it's electronic form, over the phone, or in person. Let us do the work for you. The one thing I will add for the audience, Candace, you mentioned third-party payrolls. If you have payroll and you use a third-party payroll provider like an ADP or a Paychex, even for just a couple of employees, almost all of those providers will provide you a canned report specific for a PPP application and a forgiveness for free. So I highly encourage you, even if you just pay one employee through a third-party payroll provider, ask them for that report. They'll all do it for you.
I think something I would add on that is, especially when Candace start talking, like just find a Candace. I mean, for real, for a small bit. Yeah, I want to be the person here that does some translating, right? Because again, for me, even with the updates, right? I shared this with OAV, getting to talk to some leadership. If I'm looking at this information about PPP specifically to me, and I don't believe it applied to me, every update that comes out still doesn't apply to me until somebody makes it real, right? So I'm here to say, for people that might be on or sharing this information with other, colleagues, business colleagues, entrepreneurs, other people in the community that they know, find your accountant, find your business banker, find a business banking relationship and ask them for guidance, and they will map it out for you and tell you specifically where you are and what you need, and just follow that guidance.
So we have a question from Malika Benton. She asks, what are the parameters for loan forgiveness? And I know that this is a loaded question and is on everyone's mind. So whomever wants to tackle that question, feel free to do so.
Well, I'll say that's an open question too. So right now there are 3 forms of an application for forgiveness. There's a long form, an easy form, and effectively they'll call it the short form. If your PPP loan is under $150,000, generically what the SBA is asking is that you simply certify on an application that you use the funds for the appropriate or PPP eligible expenses. And what that means, if you have employees, the expectation is that you spend at least 60% of the proceeds of that loan on payroll and payroll related costs. If you are a sole proprietor and file a Schedule C, they simply want, it's as simple as that. They're asking, would you please tell us that you actually use the proceeds for eligible expenses, and you don't have payroll? So that's a real easy one. It's a signature of an application. It's turned out, and I think Candace will agree, a much easier process than when we started. And I think the SBA has done a really good job. They are, this is a government agency telling us we don't want to be in the way. If you use the money as it was intended to use, and you'll certify that to us, we'll make the process as easy as possible. So I highly encourage you to reach out to your banker who provided it for you and walk you through those steps. I know a lot of people are apprehensive about it. It's not difficult. It's not going to the dentist. It's a lot easier than applying for the loan, actually.
You're muted.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. Next, we have another question from Princess Sheely. I'd like to start a business, and I feared my finances just weren't enough. What do we tell someone when they find that when that's their concern? Is a PPP loan for them, or should I talk to them about my microfinancing options?
I think the microfinancing option is definitely a good starting point. And my initial advice would be not to stop, push forward anyway. And so one of the things that you can do while you're working to secure a microloan is to really kind of change your personal mindset about money. That's something I think is important, and something I spent years working on. So as you think about it being parallel, working on your own personal mindset about finances and money, which is the backbone of any application that you're going to do. That's something that's important to note, that although we're talking about from the ARPC standpoint and the microloan standpoint, your personal finances are really the foundation and often the guarantee for your business loans. So start with that, and I think you'll have a great start. But Darryl, I think the microloan is definitely a good option.
Well, thank you for providing me with. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sterling.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing. Thank you.
Another thing, Darryl, I would say is, one of the things, get involved in a community like DOMI. I'm not saying DOMI is specific. You don't have to be, exclusive to DOMI. I've been involved in the DOMI family since at least 2017. And being in a community where people can provide you guidance and recommendations, and they're just breathing the same air you are and living the same life that you're living and having the same thoughts that you're thinking, that could be very beneficial. And one of the things I learned in the DOMI family, which is hard to hear when you don't have the resources, is that, let that funding, let those resources, especially financial resources, be an accelerant, right? It doesn't have to stop your growth. It doesn't have to stop your direction. It doesn't have to stop your planning, your development. All of that can be in play, and you can work to bootstrap as much as you can and get something going. And when the funding comes in, it should just be an accelerant. So you can still do, right? I mean, if you want to have a pie shop, you don't have to have a brick and mortar corner store. Work and understand the components you need to have in place to sell some pies, and sell some pies.
All right. So y'all have given me a great segue yet again for a compelling conversation. As you also know, the Office of Economic Vitality also, on behalf of Leon County, was able to start a brand new microloan in cooperation with the Florida A&M University Federal Credit Union, the oldest credit union in the country, and I mean not the country, in the state of Florida. And so to that end, $1 million has been made available to them for minority and women-owned businesses. Not only do they have those products available for microloan, they also have monies that they've also been able to secure from the Department of Economic Opportunity, as well as the Black Business Loan Fund. To the benefit of our viewers and our target audience, with those three products, their terms are each one has its own specific terms. The one that we did with the FAMU Credit Union on behalf of Leon County government requires a credit score. The minimum is 540, which is unlike any other credit score required for any other microloan. Its ceiling is $50,000. But then at the FAMU Credit Union, they also have other products that go as high as $250,000. And so for those persons who might be hard to qualify, FAMU Credit Union is still an option for you. So if you're interested in starting your brand new business and you need some microloan financing as low as $500 or $5,000 to as much as $250,000, there are microloan products available for you at the FAMU Credit Union and also at the FAMU Small Business Development Center. So I want you to take advantage of these options for microloan. But now let's get back to our questions here on PPP. Malika Benton wants to know, Sha'Ron, did you have to go in front of the ARPC board? Was it a board meeting that qualified you?
That's a great question. No, I didn't have to go before the board. Janice, and the others at the Appalachian Regional Planning Council worked with me to prepare my loan package. They knew all the details and were intimately familiar with what I was proposing. And so they did the pitch for me, which again, I think is an added benefit that they were my advocates, as you would hope your lender to be. And so, no, I didn't have to go before the board.
I'm curious. I would dare not ask Candace and Sterling, are there options that you provide for commercial lending at Prime Meridian?
We don't have microloans. However, we are working on a couple of things. We have some irons in the fire. Can't disclose anything right now because it's in the works, but I would be happy to sit down and talk to you after we get stuff finalized. If I may just take one moment to go back to a point that Sha'Ron made earlier about your finances. That is something that I'm a big advocate for. We do a lot of financial education discussions, and I just want to point out that that is absolutely right. You have to be able to understand and manage your money personally in order to leverage it so that you can use it to grow your business. You can't be bound by fear, but you do have to, those two tenets are important in order for you to leverage it and to grow your money and to grow your business.
All right. Yes.
Candace, if you have irons in the fire, if you need some guinea pigs, let me know. We have a ton of entrepreneurs. We have a ton of entrepreneurs that need some opportunities. So we have some stables that are ready if you need some guinea pigs as you test these irons in the fire out.
I will follow up with you and Letitia.
And if you need a partner, if you're depending upon how you're securing those loans, know that the Office of Economic Vitality stands at the ready to collaborate with you, particularly if you can bring additional resources to our community to serve both our minority women and our small businesses in our community, because we want to remain resource rich in this community. So, and y'all have been a fantastic partner thus far. So thank you so very much. So
thank you.
So as we come to an end, Chrissy, do we have any outstanding questions?
No, we actually have some comments of affirmations that I'd like to share really quick to end this discussion today, and I'll go ahead and share them right now. We have a comment from Letice that says this information is very helpful. Princess says, thank you everyone for answering and providing great information to questions asked today. And Elijah, thank you. I'm glad your office is hosting this. I've been trying to find information about applying. This was so helpful.
Well,
And we
Elijah,
want to encourage
for
everyone
all of
who's
them,
watching,
please
make
stay
sure you
home.
share your comments and questions because this will live as a video.
Yes, it's going to be archived on the Office of Economic Vitality's YouTube page. To all of our friends who are on here, thank you so much. Thank you, Christy, for being our facilitator, and everybody. Just thank you for what you've provided here. Think about this. Just 6 months ago, I want you to know that the conversation you've had right now, I'm sure you wish you had then. So thank you for being a part of what I know will be the growth and the strengthening of businesses found in our local community by virtue of your participation here. It has been enormously important, but more importantly, I'm certain it's going to be enormously impactful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with Chrissy Souders. Chrissy, do you know what our next one is?
Not off the top of my head. I think there might be one next week, but I'll have to take a look at my calendar. We'll
Okay.
make sure to post it as an event so people know ahead of time.
They'll know ahead of time. Great. So thank you all.